Hi guys, Janice here. Welcome to the February 2021 session of Shake It Up Creative Arts Group, a group I started for people with Parkinson's, but if you don't have Parkinson's, please feel free to join us. Also, if you're a family or friend of a loved one with Parkinson's, you can join them as well. Maybe you could help them a little bit along the way. I'd also like to mention that all of the information you need from this session will be in the description below, so please check that out so you can see the measurements and stuff that you'll need. Another thing I'd like to say too is please like this video if you enjoy these videos, and please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any in the future. Anyways, let's get started on our boxes, guys. This will be fun, I promise. Supplies for this project include 3 pieces of scrapbooking paper. These you can get at Michael's. You can get books of them so they all kind of match. I recommend using different patterns, one for the bottom, one for the lid, and then I have something for the decorations that you can cut out. There's cool little patterns in here you can cut out. Hearts or messages, you can cut out this whole square, put it on the top. However you want to do yours is fine. But I recommend that you get this book because if you can, they're about $12 for a book of 48 sheets of paper. Here, I'll just grab this so you can see it. And this is what they look like. And these, you can see they have tons of patterns in here, all different things for you to use. So that's the main thing. And in your kits, you will have, I'll give you 3 pieces of matching paper. So you don't have to worry about that if you're getting it kits. Then you'll need a ruler, scissors. I like to use a big pair and a little pair for the decorations, a big pair for the box and a lid, just because it's easier to do with the big pair. Then you need a pencil, and you will need some glue. I use Elmer's School glue. It's purple. When you put it on, it's purple, but it actually dries clear, so it's quite a cool thing. You can see exactly where your glue is going. Then today I'm going to use these highlighters. Normally I wouldn't. One will be for the outside edge of the box where you're going to cut it, and one will be to show you where the fold lines are. You can certainly use these if you want. Most of it will be hidden within the folds. You won't see it once it's done, but just if you want to, you can do that just to make it easier when you're cutting so you don't make any mistakes, because if you cut off a piece you have to start all over again. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way for now, and now we can start on the project. Step 1 for the box project is to draw your lines and figure out where your box parts are all going to be. So we'll start with the bottom of the box. First, I'll tuck this out of the way here. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take, I've already drawn some lines. You're going to have these same lines in both directions. So I've already drawn some lines and marked out where they'll be for the next one. You need 2 sets of marks in each direction in order to make straight lines, just so you know. So, but now I'm going to go through with the actual marking of the lines. Now I use inches. You can use millimeters if you prefer, but I find inches just easier. So you pick a line, any line that you've already drawn. So you've already done it this way. It's the exact same thing both directions. So because we're gonna make a square by square box. So first of all, you want to put this on 1/16. The first fold you're going to do, you want it to be a little bit shorter than the next fold so that it'll fit inside of it without crumpling the paper. So you go to 1/16 on your ruler, line up with the line as best you can, and then you're going to mark 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 4 inches, then you're going to go to 7 inches. That's going to be a 3x3 box, so that's the very bottom of the box. Then you're going to go to 10 inches, 1/2 inch, and then you're going to go to 7/16 of an inch. And then you're going to go back to the 4 and the 7, and you're going to add, you're going to go to 7.5, you're going to mark this, and then you're going to mark 3.5. So you have a 1/2 inch extra on each side, and I'll show you, those are for the tabs that we'll put in later. Now first we're just gonna draw, we're not gonna draw these lines yet. We're gonna draw all the rest of them first. So here you go. Now if you have Parkinson's, you might find this part a little tricky, and that's fine. Just be patient with yourself. These need to be fairly precise. So if you need help with it, by all means, get yourself some help. And as you can see, we're getting nice, straight, even lines across the whole page because we measured the exact same measurements twice. And then you line up the two lines. You draw your line. Oopsie, I wasn't supposed to do that one yet. Ignore that one. Let's erase it here. Just don't do these ones. You can do them, but if you do them, it gets kind of confusing. I'll show you in the other direction what I mean. This is the one you want instead. Just skip this half-inch one here by the bottom of the box. It can be a little difficult to picture this in 3 dimensions, but this box is going to become one piece. It's one piece that will make a box, a whole bottom of a box. There you go. See, I did a little lump here. I don't want the lumps either. Get the lumps out. Parkinson's is such a pain. This has to be perfect here, so fix it if you have to. Oh, we'll figure that out later. One thing that can help is putting your pencil on one line and then lining up the second line. That way it won't move on both ends, just the one end. Don't do this one. And we're going to do this one and this one. That's a little off kilter there for some reason. I don't know why. It looks like it is anyway. I'll see how this one looks. That's okay. It's not going to matter anyways. That line is just a fold line. So now that we have those all drawn out, now you're going to add what's your tabs. Your tabs are important because when you fold the box, you need something to glue the sides to. So we need 2 different sets of tabs. On this side, we're going to do the long side tabs right here. And on this side, we'll do the same, this going this direction. And I don't draw these lines in the middle because that just confuses me. That's why I don't draw them right away, just because that gets confusing if you have a line where you don't need it. Plus it will also show on the inside of the box, which you don't want. So now we're going to do the tabs the other direction. These tabs are a little bit different because you don't need other tabs on the sides because you've already got something to glue the sides to on the other tabs. These tabs are for where you have the fold and you want to fold it over the lid, over the very top of the box. And the reason you do that is to make a nice, strong box. It solidifies the top of the box, makes it a little bit tougher. Now, where's my other line? Oh, there it is. It's very light. Okay, so now and then you just want to put this line here. Don't put it on this first part, just put it on the second part. Just a short little tab right there. Same thing on this side. And these aren't that important because they're all tucked in. Now, so now you have long tabs on this side, short tabs on the other side. And I'm going to erase this as well because you don't want to cut that out either. That's not part of it. You want to cut that off. Now, because your tabs are going to fold in, you want to have little edges that you don't want the edges to hit the side of the box because they will give you a hard time. So now you just need to take from each of the corners of the tabs going out, you want to take this and go like this. Just an angled line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's all tucked in the end. Oopsie, that's the... Just don't mind me. It's early in the morning and I'm having a brain fart. Okay, so that way instead, this is, no, what am I doing? That tab is, these aren't even tabs. That's not a tab. Ignore that one, that's getting cut off. This is your tab here. There we go, that's better. Now we gotta figure it out. So just these two middle ones here. This is why you could use the highlighters. It helps to know what you're doing. Helps figure out how you're going to do it. And then this is the other side of that. Those will be your tabs there. And you gotta do these side ones, these long ones. Same exact thing, just on the ends of them. Tab. 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 You don't have to do them quite as much as I'm doing. They can be smaller than that, but I'm just doing them bigger so you can see them. Also, make sure your lines go right to the end of the page. Not that one so much, but this one, these middle lines need to go right to the end. Because this is where you're going to have, this is like another, you also need to do an angled side here, 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 and here. So from the corner of your tab, you want to go up all the way to the top. Same with this one. I'm having some issues here. Parkinson's is coming up. Erase this line, you don't need this one. And then also here, so you need a line. Make sure I'm in the right space. And this one back here. So that's all your tabs and your bulb lights. And get rid of this one. That's for the bottom. Now the top is the same. The top is the same. I've also done the marks here. You just have a lot less of it this time. So we'll take our ruler and we're gonna mark those lines again. So again, we're gonna go to the 1/16 mark to start. And then you're gonna go 7/16 or the half mark. And then half mark, and then you're going to go to 4, but you're going to go give it an extra 1/16 of an inch just so you can have some room. The lid has to be slightly bigger than the box so that it goes on easily. So make sure you do that. Then line up the 4 again, and you're going to go 1/2 inch and 7/16 of an inch. And you do not need to do the 1/2 inch mark on this one because you actually have it already marked. You still need tabs, but we don't need to mark them in the same way. And we're just going to do our lines right to the edge. Right to the edge. And then you're going to mark your tabs. So once again, you need, on one side you need the tabs on the sides, so we're just going to mark those off by picking this square right here in the middle. And you only need going in one direction this time, because you don't have 2 glue spots, you just have 1 glue spot. I wouldn't do them as angled as I'm doing, I'm just exaggerating them so you can see them. So there is your lid, that's all marked out. Oh, wait, don't forget these ones. There you go, that's your lid. Okay, step 2 is to cut out your boxes. Now on this one I've taken out all those extra lines so you have a really good view of what we're going to cut exactly. And again, I'll show you fold lines versus cut lines. So take this here. The yellow is going to be the fold line. So that's a fold line. This is a fold line. This is a fold line. This is a fold line. And this is a fold line on that side. On this side, this is a fold line. This one, and this one. And don't forget the bottom. I've done that before. It doesn't look very tidy when you're trying to do the box up. So we'll repeat over here. Fold, 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 and fold. And then fold, 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 fold. If you want to do this, by all means do it. Just keep aware that you will have, these lines will show a little bit in the box in some areas. And then there you go. That's another fold line. So once you got those marked off or figured out, now I'll show you the cut lines. So the cut lines are all the rest of them, obviously. Gonna go like this. You can see how the shape is coming together. Now it starts to get a little easier to envision how it's going to be put together. And you just cut all the way around the perimeter. Now with all those other lines on there, it gets pretty confusing. I'll show you where you're going exactly. So this can be handy to have available to be able to see what's what. You need the perimeter is the most important one. You don't have to have both of them if you don't want to. So that's this one. And then we're going to just quickly show you same thing over here. Fold lines first. Whoops. Dropping stuff. That's a fold. That's a fold. Fold, fold. Fold, fold. Fold, fold. Fold, fold, and fold. And then we do the cut line. I'm gonna cut it out here, here. You don't have to cut this edge, obviously. My dog is lonely. He wants attention right now. Oh, I forgot a fold line. See? And we'll do this one first. All right, keep going. I'm going to have all of this, the measurements and everything in the description below, so you don't have to remember everything on the video if you don't, or if you don't remember, you can easily look it up afterwards or go back and replay it. So that's where we're going to cut. So I use the big scissors for this. And usually I'll just give a basic outline cut first. And the tab areas don't matter too much because they will be tucked inside the box, like I said before. You won't see them exactly. And etc., etc. Now when you get to these areas, I'm just gonna get rid of that. When you get to these tighter areas, I recommend cutting off this bit first. Now the part of the cutting that's important to be careful with is these edges, because these edges will be showing. Everything else is, there's leeway there, so if you cut it a little bit too short, you're okay. And then you just dig it in like that. And there you have that section done. Don't forget to cut these bits off. And then you have and there you go. And you'll continue to cut all of these lines until it's all cut out. Same thing with the lid, it's exactly the same. This one, you don't, all of this area has some leeway, so if you cut it a little bit short or a little bit off more than you wanted to, you're fine. Get that out of here. And then you just be careful not to cut into the box, into the areas of the box, like this part, the center, because it's, then you'll have not a good looking box. So sometimes I try and line up the end of the scissors exactly with the bottom of the box, or with the corner of the box. This corner here, I mean, just to be clear. Okay, so then you do those other three sides and you would have all of your cutting done. Next, step 3 is your folding. Now to fold, it's fairly simple. You just put the ruler, I use the ruler, it just makes it a lot easier to get a straight fold. Put it on the line and pull up the edge. And sometimes it's difficult to do. Of course, it's not going to cooperate with me right now. There you go, and then you just, and you can see, possibly see here how this line is a little bit, the end of the paper is a little bit inside of the gray line that you have, the gray fold line. And that's to accommodate that piece of paper without making it all crumple and fill in the area too much. So then the next fold line you do, this one's a very important fold line because it's the top of the box. You want it straight and even. And then you go to this side, do this tab. Again, this one should be very straight and even. It's the side of the box, the corner. And then we'll do this one. And then we'll do this one. And this one's important too because it's the corner at the bottom of the box. So try to make sure it's straight and even as well. Now I'll do this piece. Now on this one I have a little bit of extra gray. I have the line. I didn't quite get it cut out enough. So I'm going to chop that off because it's better to have too little than too much in that area. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. This won't come up. There we go. Ugh, it's giving me a hard time today. Also for the supplies, I recommend having a piece of parchment paper handy, because when you're gluing, the paper tends to stick to a plastic surface or your table or whatever surface you're working on. If you put parchment down first, it won't do that. This one is giving me, oh, no, that's all right. That's fine. Okay, and then this one is your important fold on this side. Top edge of the box. And then we're going to fold these in. And then one more here. See, I always want to forget this one, but don't forget it. It's an important one. And there you go. That's the two sides. And then you'll do the same on these two sides and get that all folded up. Then for the lid, you do the exact same thing. Line it up, pick it up, fold it over, line it up, pick it up, fold it over, making sure it's even and straight. And then you do this little tab and this little tab, and that side is done. And then you do the same for here. Line it up, pick it up, try not to move the ruler while you're picking it up. I don't know why it's so hard to do today. There you go. There you have it. And then you're going to line it up, pick it up, and fold. And then don't forget the other tabs. And then you do the rest of that, and that's step 3. Once your box is all folded up, it'll look something like this, and you can go on to step 4, which is gluing. And that's kind of when everything comes together nicely. So let's do the bottom first. It's a bit more complicated than the top. So first you're gonna glue this edge down, this edge here. So I'm gonna take my glue, and this is where your parchment comes in handy, because you're gonna get glue on it for sure. Cover the whole thing. You can even go a little bit into this one if you want to, and fold it down. And then just rub it along there for a couple seconds till it sticks good. And like I said, this will dry clear, so don't worry about that if it's showing a little bit. This also gets tucked in, so it doesn't matter. Then you're gonna do this one. And I keep moving it off with this stuff and then try to rub it in so it'll dry faster, so you don't stick your box to it later. And you go on top of it. It just disappears. And you're going to have a lot on your fingers, but that's okay. Tighten this fold if you can when you're there, so it's not round, it's like nice and flat. Okay, then this side, same thing. And you can see all of these are below. They're not necessarily perfectly straight. This one could come down a bit, I think. If you have to redo something, you can usually, for a few minutes, you can pick this up, add more glue, and fix it up. There we go, that's better. Now you see I crumpled it though. It's okay, we're just gonna squish that down as best you can. Again, it's inside of the box, so it's not so bad to have. Squish that down. I'm going to do this one. And this is the last one that we have to do on this edge. Then it gets extra tricky. Okay, this is about the best one. It's perfect. There's a little bit of the gray fold line here. But it's right up against it, so it'll be perfectly lined up. And this is nice and straight here. This one has a bit of a curve to it. If that happens, don't stress about it. The box has got a lot to it, so you won't see those little details. Now we're going to glue this to this. So, I usually try to do both sides at the same time, just because then you have a nicer looking finish to it. Because when you try to do one at a time, this is all folded up already. It gets complicated to put the glue on. So just try to be careful with it here. You don't really want to get it on the outside, but you want to get it right up against the edge of this thing. So it does dry clear, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you get some, I just rub it off and get rid of it, just because I don't like to have it on there if possible. It's not supposed to be there, so let's not put it there if we can help it. Then you're going to take this here to fold this in. And you want to line up this edge very, very carefully, because you don't want any parts sticking out. You want it to be seamed nicely here. And then you can just rub it down like this. Once you got it in a good spot, it's a little bit shown at the top here. We don't want, we're a snag. There we go. Wipe off any excess glue and just press it down. If you want to use a roller to squish it down in the corner, that can help too. And then you got to get to this side too though, so don't forget that one, because it's already dry, so now I have to add more. If you're fiddling too long, it does that too, yeah. And then this is when it gets tricky, because it's on the side, but it's okay, you can still do it, it's just more tricky, that's all. Oh, I want that to be glued down for sure. Okay, then we're going to line up this side. Just make sure it's lined up nicely all the way along. And then we're going to flatten it. So now that's one side of your box done. Well, not quite done, but that part is done. Let it dry for a couple seconds, just because you don't want to start doing the other side until you know that one's good and solid. And then we can start this one. So now you're going to take this and you're going to go like this. This one is now going to be, you can put it on the edge of your table like this if you want to. I don't know if you can see that. If you feel like that's easier. I'm trying to do both sides better this time. Is that any more glue right there? There we go. Okay. Then we're going to fold this in, tuck it in here, that in there. Make sure you're doing both sides at the same time so the glue isn't drying up on you. If it does, there we can sneak some in there. It's just a little bit trickier, that's all. glue here. See, here's a bit, so I'm just going to sneak this in here. A little bit on the edge there. So we can get that glued up tight. You don't want the top, and especially to be cutting apart. See, I have a bit of white sticking out here, so I'm just going to trim it with these little scissors because I don't like that look at all. I don't like it having a piece sticking out. I didn't quite get it right, and now it's stuck, so. Don't cut the box, just cut the paper you don't want. See, I did a bit of the box there. Be careful with that. I'll just touch it up with some pink. There we go. That's very crooked looking. I don't want that. I'll fix it up. Try these scissors. There we go. That's better. Now I pulled that off, so I'm just going to tuck a bit more glue in there. Okay, that should be good. Now you can really see the box coming together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to fold these back out because they're in the way. Then we're going to take these ones and we're going to put glue on each of these tabs. But we're actually going to put the glue on this side of the tab. And we're going to put it all along here because you want to go down here like this. So the inside is all the pink tab will show, and will be glued to the sides of the box. So let's try that, see how it goes. That went very well. And then the other side, same thing. Just squish it up tight. If you see any bits of glue, you can take it off, just scrape it off with your finger. If it won't come off like that, you get a slightly damp cloth, try and wipe it off. It's water soluble, so it should come off no problem. Then obviously the last thing we have to glue are these to the inside of the box. Just like this. So let's give that a try. And then just squeeze everything to make sure it's all tight and even. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And there's your box, your basic box. So now we'll do the lid. The lid's similar, but a lot less, obviously. Let's get rid of some of this stuff off the table. Okay, so now we're going to do the lid. And the first thing we're going to do is these tabs here. So the top tabs. Same exact thing as the box, just glue, fold, glue, fold. Glue. I got glue all over me. It's not glue, it's paint. That's my life. Once this side is done, let's push it down, make sure it sticks. Next. There you go. So that's finished. Now all you have to glue to the side is this tab. Is this tab right here. So you're gonna take this, put the glue here, and stick this together here. Okay? So let's try that. Give it a lot of glue, you want it to stick well. And you're gonna hold that for a couple seconds. Squish it tight, make sure it doesn't move around like it is right now. Give it a couple seconds to get strong, and then move to the next tab. Squish it up tight for a couple seconds. Get rid of excess glue. All right, we're ready for the next tabs. Now these two are exactly the same. Just take them, get the glue on it. No, a lot of glue. Stick it down. The edges are the most important part to get glued down tight, so just make sure you're really focusing on that spot. And if you cut it right, it should be perfectly square. I don't think I did, but it's hard to get it perfect, obviously. If you're not a machine, you're a human being, you'll make it imperfectly. This one's the hardest one because there's nothing. It's all tucked in already, so it's in the way of everything. There you go. There you go. Last one is done. All right, so that's that. I'm just going to tuck this on top of the box right now. You may have to finagle it a little bit. See which way it goes on best. Sometimes one way is better than another. I obviously didn't cut this lid big enough because it's too tight of a fit. But we'll make it work. And that's what happens when your lid is too tight. You get one side that will crumple in. But we won't worry about that too much because we're just going to finish this off. may have forgotten to do the extra 1/16 of an inch on that one. I'm not sure, but anyways, there's the box. It'll still look good in the end. So now we're going to do some decorations for the box. The last step is step 5, is the decorating of the box. So I'm going to make some hearts, springs of hearts. Make these springs out of paper, and we're going to make these. I cut these hearts out of a sheet of paper. I'll just show you how to do this. I did these two, and now I'm going to do this one that says "Be Mine" here. This one right here. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to use this little scissors just because I find them easier. Quickly go in there and just chop that up. Just cut it out basically first, then you can finesse it after that. So you have the heart that you want. Now I'm going to just trim around the edge of it carefully. Can be a little bit finicky. If you cut it up into the gold a little bit, don't worry about it. Just do the best you can. You could also go a little bit outside the edge of the gold if you want. Make a little white border. A little bit extra there. Here, I'm pulling back too far, sorry. I'm used to doing everything by my body, and then I can't do that when I do this. Be Mine. So your heart's cut out. Now you just need to make your spring. And what I usually take is leftovers from a project that I've already done. And I use this edge. Like when you cut out the box, you'll have a double edge here. Just about the perfect size that you need for 2 of these springs. So I'm just going to cut this out like this. And now I want to have like about 1/4 of an inch for the spring. And you also want to make 3 different lengths of this so that they don't clash and bump into each other too much. As you can see here, they're all at a different level. So I'm just going to take this, and this one I did short, this one I did long, and now I'll do a medium one. And you can use the design to sort of give you an idea of where to cut. Just about 1/4 of an inch, a little bit bigger if you want. The bigger you do it, the less they spring. There's one piece here. Get these out of my way for now. And then we need another piece, so we'll just do that here. And you want them about the same width, these 2 pieces, so they're not going to be perfectly straight, that's fine. Not a big deal at all. Alright, so now we've got these 2 pieces, so we're going to glue this end together to start. Take your glue and just stick it on there. Try to make sure when you're done sticking them that they're at about a 90-degree angle, and that should be perfect. So now we're going to fold them up into a spring. You might remember this from kindergarten, not sure, but I certainly do. The one that's in the bottom, you take it and you fold it over the top one as tight as you can, and then you keep doing that over and over again, so they keep switching which one becomes the spring. And then slowly but surely this gets springier and springier. It gets harder and harder to do. Great for fine motor coordination for us parkies. And I mean that in the kindest way. I don't mean it as to be mean. I think it's an endearing term as opposed to a Parkinson's patient. So just keep folding, 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 folding until you're at the end. We're almost there. I'm getting off camera. Sorry, it's just hard to hold my hands this far away and do this. And just keep holding it down tight, because if you don't, it's harder to do. And try to make it keep it at a 90-degree angle if possible. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Towards the end, I like to leave a little bit of an edge just to, so I have something to glue it to. So you take this, open this last two up, and then you just glue them down to each other. Small one first, big one next. And then you hold it so it can get nice and tight. And there you go. You can see there's a bit of a springy action going on, and it's twisted a little bit. That's because it wasn't perfectly 90 all the way through, and that's fine. It's part of the charm of this particular piece of decoration. Once you have that sticking good, you take your glue, flip your heart over. You want to put this edge like this, so that when you glue it down, that's pointed towards the inside of the box. So I'll show you what I mean. Put some here, put some on the part. For some reason, when you put it on both places, it sticks better. Don't ask me why, I don't know. So you'll point this longer edge towards the this part of the heart. And then stick it right about the middle and hold it down for a bit. And you can just leave it to the side to dry for a bit, and we'll start gluing these ones on the box. So I want to have this as the front of my box right here. So I'm going to put these two kind of back here, because I want the one with the message that says "Be Mine" on the front. So this one I don't have a little extra on, so that's fine. It's just going to be a little harder to stick down, that's all. Put your glue on the bottom like this. I want it to face out that way a little bit, so I'm just going to stick it right about here. And then hold that down. Sing a song if you want, or whatever. There's that one. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. Okay, we'll leave that like that. Then this one is still drying. This one is the one you want. So now we're going to take this one and we're going to put it over here, because I want it to be put out here a little bit. Stick your glue on. Stick it down, hold it. Now with this tab on there, makes it a little bit easier, because you can hold the tab and make everything stick that way, because this one's too tall to work with anyway. There we go. So let's just leave it like that. Oopsie. Okay, he didn't stick yet. I let go too soon, so it gives me a chance to show you again. Stick it all on here. A little bit more is good, so that it ends up being... These hearts don't have to particular position, just wherever you want them. You can make 4 and put them on each corner and put a bunch of ribbon in the middle. Whatever you want to do is fine. You can change up your decoration depending on what's on the decorative paper. You can cut out different things, flowers, hearts, sayings, whatever you want. Make it your own or their own. Make it tailored to them, the person you're giving it to. Now I'll put this one on. It should be dry enough now to get away with it. Fill this up with glue, lots of glue, and then we want this one to be sticking out this way, a little bit more like that. There we go. Oh, this one's good because it bends over a bit. I like that. Now we'll let that dry for a bit more, and we'll make the next step, which is the ribbony stuff. All this is made from paper. I don't use any whatchamacallit. I don't use any ribbons or anything. It's all what I make myself. So that one I'm not going to use because it's not what I want. I need some of this, I guess. No, I don't like this. I think I'll use this one. So I'm just going to cut out very thin pieces of paper here. Quite thin. You want them about like 1/8 of an inch approximately. Once again, they won't be perfect because you're doing it just by your hand and eye, but that's okay. They don't have to be perfect. I'm going to do 5 of them. I just find that fills it in a nice amount. You could also just use red paper and kind of hearts and stuff. You don't have to use fancy paper. But I like to sort of use the design they have and go with that. And because they all go together, so it's kind of fun to just play with it. Okay, so that's 5. That, and then you're gonna curl it just like you do curling ribbon. Take your scissors, put them on the edge, and pull it. It doesn't curl up as much as curling ribbon, but it does enough that we can use that like that. Usually a couple times helps make it a little bit curlier. Let's see that. And the number 5. Okay, so then you can take your box again. You're gonna put a bit of glue. I like to put the glue on the colored side just so that it curls up and looks more colored than white. So here we go. Just take a bit, just a chunk of it, stick it in here. If it would let me take it apart, that would be nice. Here we go, there's another piece. First I do the 3 spaces in between the hearts, and then I see what needs filling in. Now, depending on what you like, you can tuck it into the top like the original one was, or you can leave it hanging out the edges. It's just harder to get the lid on and off when you leave it like this. Put one here. Wrap it around these a little bit. And then put another one over here. We need one on that side over there more than over here, so we'll just check this out. Make sure you check your box all around. If you have to cut out another one, by all means go for it. That's totally fine. And there's your box. Doesn't that look awesome? You can also make a bunch of curling ribbon and put it inside the box so that you have like Easter grass kind of stuff. These can be tailored to any occasion, like I said, I might have said before. Christmas, Easter, I put Ukrainian Easter eggs that I make in them for friends and family. Some of my friends have actually even left them on their shelves as part of their decor. So that's kind of fun, and they really seem to appreciate them. And I just want to show you one more. This is a totally different one, different occasion. This could be for an anniversary or a wedding or Mother's Day or anything like that. And you can see it's quite cool. I took a leaf from this pattern, cut it all out. It was tricky to do, but I did it, and just stuck it on the box like that and added a flower. And I think that's quite beautiful. So thanks again for coming today. See you next month. Well, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm really glad you came. Just a shout out, I'd like to make this month to Passion for Parkinson's, a fantastic organization for people with Parkinson's in Mississauga, Ontario. They're doing some great work out there, and they're making lots of programming free for people with Parkinson's. So just check them out, check out their website, and see what they're all about. Thanks for coming again, guys. See you next month.